Exam matrix transposition. This video explains how to add transposition to the matrix I came up with to efficiently and accurately answer multiple hurdle questions on the Navy's Musician Advancement Exam. In subsequent videos, I will continue to add on to the matrix with items like tendency tones and all of the clefs. But for this video, I'm just focusing on transposition. Start by labeling the first row below the basic matrix, transposition, and placing an S in the Ionian column. This S represents the sounding column. There are a couple of methods you can use to set up the columns, and I will go through both. The first method references NAVED Tray 10244, the Basic Music Book, Chapter 14. This excerpt is from 14 Tac 1. When an instrumentalist plays written C on their instrument, the name of the instrument sounds. For example, B-flat instruments sound B-flat, and E-flat instruments sound E-flat. Following this point, locate the B-flat in the sounding column. Then locate the C in that row. Follow down the column and place a B-flat in the transposition row. Locate the E-flat in the sounding column. Then locate the C in the E-flat row. Follow down the column and place an E-flat in the transposition row. Locate the F in the sounding column. Then locate the C in the F row. Follow down the column and place an F in the transposition row. The alternate method of setup is based on tuning notes. Generally speaking, we tune to B-flat, so find the B-flat in the sounding column and take a look at that row. B-flat instruments play their written C to tune. You can see when following their tuning note down the column, this is where you just wrote B-flat in the transposition row. E-flat instruments play their written G to tune. You can see when following their tuning note down the column, this is where you just wrote E-flat in the transposition row. F instruments play their written F to tune. You can see when following their tuning note down the column, this is where you just wrote F in the transposition row. Now that it is set up, we will look at a practical use. If you wanted to know what written note an F instrumentalist would need to play to sound an A, you would locate the A in the sounding column. Follow up the column from the F in the instrument row. Where these meet is your answer. An F instrumentalist would need to play their written E to sound an A. If you wanted to know what note would sound if an E-flat instrumentalist played their written C sharp, you would locate the column for E-flat transposition in your transposition row and follow it upwards until you reach C sharp. Move left across that row until you get to the first or sounding column, and you see that an E-flat instrumentalist playing their written C sharp would sound an E. I want to make a quick note here about enharmonics. If you wanted to know what note would sound if a B-flat instrumentalist played their written A sharp, you have two options. You can choose the enharmonic spelling, B-flat, or you can choose A and then mentally raise it a half step. Moving over to the sounding column, you can see that the sounding note will be enharmonically an A-flat or a G sharp. Just remember that if you have raised the starting pitch mentally, you must also raise the pitch you are searching for. Now we are going to go over pitch nomenclature. For most of the questions I've encountered on advancement exams, finding the note name with no attention to octave has been sufficient, but occasionally there are questions that require exact octaves. Starting with concert-pitched instruments, a piccolo sounds one octave higher than written, and the flute, oboe, bassoon, all bass clef brass instruments, and the timpani sound as written. Orchestra bells and the bell lyre sound 2 octaves higher than written, and the xylophone and celeste sound 1 octave higher than written. All other keyboard and mallet instruments sound as written. The guitar and bass sound 1 octave lower than written. B-flat instruments include the B-flat clarinet and soprano sax, which both sound a major second lower than written. The B-flat bass clarinet and tenor sax, which both sound a major ninth lower than written. The B-flat trumpet, cornet, and flugelhorn, which sound a major second lower than written, and the B-flat baritone and treble clef, which sounds a major ninth lower than written. E-flat instruments include the E-flat clarinet, which sounds a minor third higher than written, the E-flat clarinet, and the alto sax, which sound a major sixth lower than written, and the E-flat bari sax, which sounds a major 13th lower than written. F instruments include the English horn and the French horn, which both sound a perfect fifth lower than written. I like to think of these octave displacements in terms of what needs to be done after I find the correct pitch in the matrix. As seen here, I group the instruments in terms of octave displacement from my answer. For instance, if the question started with a written F1, my answer for an orchestra bell is sounding F3, and for E-flat clarinet would be a sounding A-flat 1. I raised the answer by 2 octaves for the orchestra bells and kept the answer just above the starting pitch for the E-flat clarinet. So that's it for transposition. If you find it helpful and would like some practice questions or have any questions in general on the matrix this far, leave a comment or send me a message on Facebook. I'll be posting more videos of the other features of my matrix over the next few weeks.